So, on your journey of stepping out of the wounded feminine or the wounded masculine into your divine feminine, divine masculine, it's so important for us to develop that cognitive diffusion, right? Now, when I say cognitive diffusion, what does this mean? So, I'm going to tell you what it doesn't mean for you to understand this, right? So, cognitive fusion is if you have a thought and you identify with the thought, like the thought is true, the thought is you. Like if you think something like or you can think something like, I'm so stupid today, this person is stupid, you know what I'm saying? Then you're literally casting a spell on yourself to say that you're stupid, and then casting a spell that that person is stupid, right? But cognitive diffusion is literally saying something like, I am having the thought that I am stupid and that this person is stupid. Does that make sense? So your kind of diffusion is you're creating a little bit of energetic space between you and that thought. So if you can just imagine that like all of your thoughts are like clouds, and as they come, they are going to be coming in, they're going to be flying past you, you recognize it. I am having the thought that this, I am having the thought that I am having the thought that, I'm not doing a good job. Because there's a difference between saying I'm not doing a good job and I'm having the thought that I'm not doing a good job. Does that make sense? This is literally a psychology term, cognitive diffusion. Now, the reason why we need this cognitive diffusion is because it's very easy for our brains to go back to old ways of thinking, to go back to old patterns, especially when we are triggered, right? So one thing to understand about triggers is that it's literally like a time machine. So if something happens in your physical reality that may remind you of maybe 2 years ago with that one person that made you feel a certain way, when you experience this trigger today, you might subconsciously go back to that space and time and respond the exact same way that you did there, or get defensive about something, when in reality the person isn't necessarily doing the exact same thing, but it's something about it that reminds you of this thing, right? So you might have a thought a thought that may not be 100% fit for the situation. Does that make sense? So it's important to develop that cognitive diffusion so you can have that little bit of energetic space as you are observing your thoughts, because we must get, as we're doing our shadow work, we must get curious about our thoughts and where they're coming from. We have to get curious about our judgments and why we're judging. We have to be willing to ask ourselves, why am I thinking this? Why do I feel this way? And I know that, to some that might sound exhausting. And I'm not saying you got to do it all the time. But I think that on our journey of not only, healing ourselves fully, and really moving into having better and healthier relationships with people that we care about, or just people in general, it's important for us to do the shadow work of not constantly projecting. Because what projecting is say, for example, somebody in my current reality triggered me about something that happened 2 years ago. So I'm projecting something onto this situation that literally is not what it is. People do that all the time. Even, for example, somebody may see somebody like me who looks like me, and they might think to themselves, oh, like when I was in the 3rd grade, this girl that looked just like her stole my boyfriend or something like that. So they might see me and be projecting that experience onto me, and then they don't like me. And I'm just sitting here like, I'm like one of the kindest people you'll ever meet. Like, why don't you like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people do stuff like this all the time. So that person could have like, I'm having the thought that I don't like this person, and then ask themselves why. But if they just say, I don't like this person, then it's just like, you're just stuck in your projection. You're never going to be able to better yourself as a human being, because you're not asking yourself like, why? So does this make sense, y'all? I mean, this is some real deep like shadow work, subconscious work energy. But for the people who are doing that inner work, cognitive diffusion.